It's summertime! And holy crap, it's hot. Now I understand why they were called cavemen. Jeez, man, neat Christmas. Well, if you can't tell, I'm tired just because of the heat. So, let's get cracking on the workbench. Alright, so, welcome back to the workbench, folks. It's been a very long week. I've had a very tiring week at work. It has been physically and mentally draining for reasons I'm not going to get into. Other than the fact, it's hot outside. If y'all know where I live in Texas. It's boiling. The Mother Nature has left the broiler on, and I am roasting. So that is a thing. Yeah, I expect this. But honestly, I'd rather have the heat. I'm weird that way. I'd rather have the heat and deal with, 6 feet of snow and shoveling that for 6 months out of the year where I used to live at. I lived up towards Canada, eh? So, I'll take the heat where I don't have to shovel any snow. I just have to mow the yard every other weekend. So, that's a thing. We've got a full schedule set up. I'm going to get right into it after this, and then we're going to have some fun. So, first up, we're going to have an update on Fafnir Ron here. I currently have been able to add some wonderful Iron Hand steel from Citadel to his armor trim and some extra parts, at least to the body. I've still got to do the Iron Hands on all the rest of his bits. Other than that, I'm really happy with it. I'm a dum-dum, and I did the front of the shield. I forgot to do the back of the shield in the yellow. So I had to spend an extra day doing that because Averland Sunset, even though being a base paint, has meh coverage. Especially if you're trying to do this in a very smooth style like I am. I'm very meticulous. I love having a very smooth base coat, and everything like that. So I'm very picky. I won't lie. That's why it takes me like 5 days just to do the base coats on my guys, because I'm, again, very picky. So that's the thing. Other than that, I'm very happy with how he's coming along. It'll probably be about a month before he's done, so you guys will see a very slow progression. Like I said, I'm only doing these videos once a week anyways. So there's that. Let's get into the next long-term project is what I'm going to call this. So you guys will see what I'm talking about here in a second. So, the next long-term project is converting all of my paint pots from Citadel over to dropper bottles. This is a dropper bottle. This is what is called a paint pot. I'm currently getting all my shades and contrast colors done first because those are going to be the easiest and they will take the least amount of time. This is literally my last one I have to do unless I go out and buy more. I bought these little dropper bottles. They come with this very thin... I guess you could call it a nozzle, and I also bought some funnels. So, and they come with these nice. I like these lids too because they're kind of like the medical lids. You have to like push down and then twist to get them off. So like, you're not gonna have kids. Mind you, I don't have kids, but just in case if I decide to take these anywhere, because I do have friends that have kids, I don't want them opening these up and just spilling them everywhere. So, I'm going to show you how I go about doing this, converting this to this. In a real simple step, especially with contrast paints because it's going to go fastest. And we'll show you how it's done. So, give me 1 minute, I'll get set up. Okay, now that I'm all set up to do this, let me show you what you're going to need first to actually transfer your paint pot into your dropper bottle. So, obviously, you're going to need a paint. You're going to want to shake it up. This is Apothecary White. This one, if you are not careful, painters, this will settle really bad. So, I highly recommend having it very well mixed, because the pigments for Apothecary White like to sit at the bottom. Now, that's not to say all contrasts like that, all paints are like that, but a lot of them are. So you make sure your paints are well mixed before you do this. You're gonna need some sticky tack, obviously your dropper bottle, funnel, nozzle, tweezers for things, and I'll show you why. Some nippers, and obviously tissue paper. Vortex mixer optional for those of you who are lazy like me. So first, you're going to take your sticky tack, make sure it's activated pretty well. It's got a nice good stick to it. Stick your dropper bottle onto it. Take your funnel, drop that right on in there. Now, you're going to take your mixed pot of paint, your nippers. You're going to then nip off the back two of these here. Your sliding nippers in there, kind of just yank it out. Like so. Crack open your bottle very carefully, mind you, not spilling anything. Set the top off to the side. And now we are just going to pour. I'm not looking at my camera as I'm doing this. I'm hoping this is looking really well. Let me move them out of the way. So as you can see, you're filling up the pot. Let it drip for a bit. Kind of, you know, give it some help if you need to. I've used a bit of my Apothecary White already because these are 15 milliliter. These are 18 milliliter. I did an entire clone army for Star Wars Legion. So Apothecary White, if you're ever interested, does a great clone. Does great shading for clones. Come on. Oh, okay. So you saw a little funk there. That was my ball bearing that I keep in my pots beforehand. I just now starting. Come on, the last drop. All right, last drop is being stubborn, so we're just gonna ignore that. So we're gonna take our paper towel and wipe off the edge there. Put the cap back on. Nice little snap there. All right, now I'm gonna remove this here, the funnel, and because my ball bearing dropped down in there, I'm gonna take my tweezers. I like these tweezers to grab my ball bearings with. And for those of you who have dirty minds, get your minds out of the gutter. Drop that back in there. I'm pretty sure that went in there. Everyone else see that? I hope so. All right, set your used funnel off to the side. Clean off your tweezers. Because, especially if you're doing multiple of these, you definitely want to make sure you clean your tweezers when you're handling the ball bearings. Because like I said, most of my paints already have ball bearings in them to mix them up. I'm just now getting them converted over to the dropper bottles. Reason you do this is for control. You have more control dispersing your paint. Put your cap back on, put your nozzle in, make sure it's nice and tight. You are like now 90% done. So, last bit of thing you want to do is you want to take the label. And the cool part about Citadel labels, they tear off so cleanly. It is insane. What I do is I grab me a fair good bit of tweezers. My tweezers, there we go. Okay. Underneath my script there. Alright, get it started there. I can also tell you, Citadel does all their labeling by hand. There is no machine that does that because none of them are even, ever. Alright, so what I do is I try and find this seam line. As you can see by the glare there. I try and line that up as best I can with the label. Get a nice set in place. Nice and tight. Go around. A lot like doing labels for wires, which I'm very used to. I've worked with wires for many years, labeling them like so, and boom, Apothecary White, contrast paint, done. So that's how you transfer from a Citadel paint pot, which now goes in the trash, to a dropper bottle. It's a little bit wasteful, but in the long run, it'll save you time, and you'll even save you more money by not having to pull paint from your brush to your pot, clean your brush off to add more water, blah, 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 blah. This is just so much easier. So, on to the next bit. Alright, next, we are now reviewing a model that I just recently acquired. I kind of went on a rave on it in my last video about Amazon, who cannot damage a box if they save their life by sending them in those manila envelopes. We got Drazar of the Jakari from Warhammer 40k. This was a very fun build, I will not lie. This was a blast. He comes with a 40mm base, comes on a single sprue. There's a lot on the sprue though, on the sprue. I have him currently in sub-assemblies because I plan on doing, like I said early in the video, or earlier, kind of like Fafnir. You know, I'm going to paint him up essentially in a quote-unquote competition style. You know, best of my abilities, make him look badass, make him essentially look like, you know, display miniature, which is what I'm going for. So, let's get in here. Look at him. He's got all these gems. So in the lore, Drazar is known as the Lord of Blades. So these back parts here, those are blades. He's got blades on his, you know, his knee pads. He's essentially, his shoulders are also blades. His head, again, I've got him in sub-assembly form. Head is really cool. I love the horns. I love all the broken gems, because the Jakari in the lore, they hunt the Aldari, which are the High Elves, in 40k. He's got his glaives, essentially. These are really cool. He's got blades on his arms too, so it's like this dude is blade heavy. And he's essentially the equivalent of their Phoenix Lord for the Dark Elf side. So the Incubi, which are also really cool models. I just didn't feel like painting 10 of them, so I just, you know, decided to do their leader. So eventually I will get this painted up, primed, on the base, with everything attached, probably in the next year or so, knowing my speed of painting, because I am slow. Because I've also got some really cool other projects coming, and I want to review them as well as they come through the door. And yeah, so there's that. So on to the next part. Okay, so yesterday I got to go hang out with my friends and play games, and I got to play currently my favorite game, which is Marvel Crisis Protocol. If you cannot tell, this is usually my team that I run in front of you. I love the Asgardians. Thor, his brother Loki, their sister Hela, and then there's some in here some people may not recognize. For instance, this one is Valkyrie from, you know, if you haven't... Hang on, phone. Come on now. There we go, phone. Valkyrie from, you know, Ragnarok. I'm trying to make her as close as possible to the movie. These two you probably will not recognize, however. These are Angela, who I'm not entirely sure because I've never read that deep into the comic books. This, however, is my least favorite model due to the fact that I can simply just boing. She's very flimsy. She's literally only being held up by these ribbons on her back. And yeah, it's very finicky, very hard to paint because she's constantly just moving. And then you have Enchantress. Some people will probably recognize Enchantress from the comics or games or TV shows. But yeah, I'm using scale 75 on all these. Thor is the only one who's fully painted up to my liking. And also, he's like my favorite model. He, in the game, hits hard, especially with that hammer. And being the god of thunder, yeah, very nice, very cool. Oh crap, almost dropped him. But yeah, I mean, I try to paint him kind of up to movie-ish standard, but there's not nearly as much detail as there is in the MCU with these characters. But they have really cool cards, and it's a really fun game. If you ever get a chance, do play it. I highly recommend it. It doesn't play quite like Necromunda or Warhammer 40k. The dice are a bit different, the cards are different, the tactics are different, the terrain is different, but it's still a very fun game. I enjoy it. I do have my gripes about the game because I think Thor and his family, who I have come down to dubbing the Simpsons, because Thanos looks like Homer Simpson, and we've kind of just given nicknames to the rest of the Black Order in the game, essentially family members of the Simpsons name. So it's funny for me and my friends. I think they're broken as hell, though, as far as the team goes, because there's just almost no beating them at all. And I do not like that, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. But I like Loki. I like Thor. I like playing with those two mostly. Thor's got some really nasty hits. Loki's got some really cool tricks. Enchantress has some really cool tricks. I'm really excited because in the next couple of weeks we'll have Heimdall and Scourge coming out, so I can add them to my Asgardian lineup. I'm going to try and paint Heimdall up to looking kind of like Idris Elba, And I'm going to do my best to Scourge to make him look like... sorry, I got sticky tack under all of them because I just got them out of their carrying case. Because... Unfortunately, with these models, they are also very finicky, because if they have a point or an edge or a sword, a blade of some type, I guarantee you, you're going to break it in one way, shape, or form before you get the thing fully painted. I've already broken Loki twice, and Angela, I've lost track because of those damn ribbons. That's how finicky they are. So, you have to be very careful when handling the MCP characters. I do also have a lot other ones. I have like Doctor Strange, I've got Wong, I got essentially all of the magic casters. I just don't like how they play. I thought I was going to like how they play, but I don't. Where I like this one, where it's kind of half magic, half hitting. And yeah, it's just a fun game overall. So if you get a chance, play Marvel Crisis Protocol, and that takes care of that bit. And now it's time to wrap this up with It's Neato Story Time. So, I'm going to go with these guys. Last one we did was my Cthulhu Tiki that I got from Mondo Tees. So, I thought I'd keep the trend going. I think maybe we'll just go through all my Tikis first. I have a lot of them, realizing this. But these are 5 of my absolute favorite Tikis. Then, if you obviously don't realize who these are right now, we may need to have a talk later. Of course, I'm talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, TMNT. These are what in the Geeky Tiki Muglets is what they're called. These are from the 2017 line. The story goes with these. How I acquired these is these were originally all Loot Crate exclusives. And I have never subscribed to Loot Crate. I was at a armor party building a Jawa or my commando, one of the two, I can't remember. And a friend who knows I absolutely love Ninja Turtles gave me Raphael. And I went, "Where did you get this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's from the Loot Crate. It's from Geeky Tikis." And I went, "Oh man, do you know if they made all 4 of them?" And then they showed me the box, and the box shows all 5 of them. And I went, "Okay, I have got to get these." So I scoured the internet high and low for a long time, trying to find these for a decent price. Some of these were going for just outlandishly prices. I mean, like, I think Donatello I saw at one point was going for like $30. I'm like, good lord, everyone else was like going for 10. So, and same with Shredder. Shredder was, I think, my most expensive one. I think I paid somewhere around $20, $25 for him because he's the last one. There were no other listings, and I'm like, okay, I have to have him to complete the collection. So I got him. Everyone else I paid pretty much for roughly around $10. I don't know what Loot Crate was offering as far as their subscription service for these, but I love these because each of them, displays a style of the turtle. Obviously, orange, Michelangelo, party dude, he's got his tongue out, sticking out, the nunchucks. Leonardo, gritting his teeth. He's got his katanas. Very well done. I think it would have been kind of cool if they did like the X sheath on the back of him, but I can understand why they didn't do that because, they gotta keep it some way, My Donnie, kind of laughing, kind of having a good time, smart guy. Again, the backs are usually all the same. He's got his D, got his bow staff. Raph, gritting his teeth, angry looking. He's got his size. The Raph does not look nearly as well defined. It looks like they got one a little heavy on the glaze for him, for the green, and then the Shredder. Very nice. Love the cape. I'd never drink out of these. I'm too scared to. I just enjoy having them up on my shelf in my Turtles collection. So, yeah, that's how I acquired these guys. They are part of my Turtles collection. I love them dearly. I will probably never, ever, ever, ever part with them unless I am, like, being held ransom. Someone would have to probably, like, offer me a pretty penny for me to depart these. I have too much sentimental attachment to these to get rid of them. Pretty much like with all my Turtle stuff. But yeah, that's been this week's vlog. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all guys learned something cool, saw something cool. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below. I'll get to them as I can. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share this with your friends. And I will catch you guys in a week for the next vlog. Later. Stay cool in AC and stay hydrated.